Lesson 3, the commutative and associative properties. Numbers combine through the operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division to produce other numbers. Sometimes how they combine is dictated by convention, like with order of operations. Okay, so order of operations is nothing new to you. Other times, though, properties about numbers exist simply due to how these operations work. So it says we're going to add the following numbers without using a calculator, and it says, it gives you a little hint. Although order of operations tells us we should add from left to right, let's think about an easier way to sum these numbers, to add these numbers up. Let's think about how we could look at them and maybe find some patterns in here. So instead of just adding from left to right, I kind of start to see groups of 10, 3 and 7. We've got 9 and 1 gives us 10. 4 and 6. We put those together, it gives us 10. And then 2 and 8 gives us 10. So automatically we've got 4 groups of 10 right there. So we could say in our mind, okay, 40. We just added those pretty quickly. And I'm sure you've come up with, there's obviously lots of different ways that you could group those together to be able to come up with your answer. Groups of 10 are pretty handy though. Addition and multiplication have 2 very important properties, okay, with very technical names. We're going to spend some time with these. So we've got to fill in the blanks, and the first one deals with the commutative property of addition. Okay, commutative property of addition. So 8 plus 4 gives the same sum as 4 plus 8. Okay? You know that the order doesn't matter in addition. That's the commutative property. So then we have that same property, the commutative property, for multiplication, because order also does not matter in multiplication. 6 times 3 is the same as 3 times 6, and then we know that that product is 18. The second property that's pretty important is the associative property of addition, and the associative property deals with the groupings. So we have 3 plus 5 in parentheses plus 9. So it says, gives the same result as, well, we could change that group to 5 plus 9. And we still know that both of those still sum to 17. In this case, we would add the 3 plus 5 first and get 8 plus 9 is 17. Here we'd add the 5 plus 9 and get 14 plus 3 to get 17. So multiplication works the same exact way. So the groupings do not matter in multiplication. So in this one, the product of 2 times 5 times 7 gives the same result as the product of, if we shifted the group to 5 times 7. So we know in this first group, well, we know that the sum is going to be 70. 2 times 5, 10 times 7 gives us 70, or 5 times 7, 35 times 2, and that also gives us 70. So those are those 2 properties, associative and commutative, and they are both work for addition and multiplication. So when we flip the page, it says the commutative property of associative, the commutative property and associative property essentially give us permission to rewrite addition and multiplication problems in different orders. And still get the same answer. So it says, give an example that shows that subtraction is not commutative. Subtraction is not commutative. So I'd like you to go ahead and do that one and bring it to class done. Even though subtraction is not commutative, we should remember something. A very important fact about subtraction, it says, it can always be made into the addition of opposites. So what does that mean? So in exercise 4 it says, change the following expression involving addition and subtraction into one only involving addition, and then use the commutative and associative properties to quickly determine the value of this expression. So we're going to evaluate it in the end. Through this, please review some properties of negative numbers. Okay. So if I take a look at this, and if I were to rewrite this as an addition problem, I could say 7 plus a negative 3 plus 8 plus a negative 2, whoops, plus a negative 6 plus 1, and then this comes out to be a plus 3 because that negative gives me a positive. Sorry, I can't seem to get that little box out of there for the moment. There we go. So now from here, if I want to group these in a different way, I could take all my positives and put them in a group. So 7 plus 8 plus 1 plus 3. That's just a pattern that I happen to be seeing. So if I group all of my positives and I wipe them out, and then I say, okay, plus, now if I group all of my negatives, negative 3 plus that negative 2 plus a negative 6, and I could quickly evaluate, so 7 plus 8 plus 1 plus 3, that's 15, and 4, that's 19, and then this other group here, I'm adding my negatives, so I've got negative 3 and negative 2 gives me negative 5, negative 6 is negative 11, so I had 19 and negative 11, which gives me a final answer of a positive 8. So it says we should be able to extend the cumulative and associative properties to numbers we know, to numbers we don't know, or variables, and we are absolutely going to do this. One of the very nice ways to illustrate the usefulness of these properties is in combining two or more expressions. So I'm going to have you come to class with exercise 5 and exercise 6 and exercise 7 done. So there's 3 that I had you do there, plus exercise 3 up at the top. Please come to class with those done and ready to offer your answers and explanations to those. We'll see you in class.